All right, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our monthly chat with Vision Bermuda. This is Vision Talk, and here we are in the throes of summer with two amazing guests joining us today, along with the lovely Teresa, who is our rehab specialist at Vision Talk. Let's welcome Estelle Roos and Matthew Johnson. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to have you here. In full disclosure, we do have a bit of a familial connection, but we're talking about something very exciting here today, which Teresa and I have kind of hinted at a few of our talks, once or twice. But let me just give you a little info on our guests right now. Estelle is from South Africa and has two blind parents, which means she has been involved in the local blindness community at home for a very long time. She has a languages degree, but is deeply passionate about people and loves a career working in a person-forward position. Beyond that, Estelle is a beautiful singer, songwriter, and pianist, and an avid volunteer working with the national organization, Blind South Africa, among others. And Estelle, you love to travel. How we got you to Bermuda.
I do.
We got you to Bermuda.
I do.
And she plays the Parasport Showdown, which is what we're going to be talking about, and has turned into one of her favorite pastimes. Matthew's no stranger to our show either. Matthew Johnson, born in Bermuda, left the island in '04 to pursue higher education in the UK. He is now an international data privacy and technology lawyer. You go, Matthew. At a top 20 firm in England. In his free time, he can be found obsessively playing his guitar. Eric Clapton and Dire Straits are a few of our favorites. Practicing Showdown with the local team or learning how to record and mix music. And like Estelle, he's also a very passionate language learner. How many do you have, Matthew? 4? 5? Five. See? Yeah. Good for you, buddy. Good for you. Welcome to the program, both of you, and to Teresa. Of course, we're going to jump right in. And we have mentioned this game. I don't know, did we call it Showdown? I think we did say that, Teresa, when we talked about it. But what is Showdown, guys? Who's going to jump in first?
Well, so if I can just briefly describe.
Sure.
Showdown is what happens when you combine something like table tennis and air hockey and blindfold everyone.
There you go.
I think that would be the best descriptor just as a starting point. It was actually created by someone who was an avid table tennis player who then went blind and decided he wasn't done playing some form of table tennis and decided to invent an entirely new game.
I see.
And that was in Canada in the 70s. So the game is played on sort of a table, and it's sort of 3 and a bit meters long by one and a bit meters wide, essentially, with a screen in the middle, about 6 inches off the table.
Okay.
And it's 2 players, a ball with ball bearings in it, bats, gloves, which you very much need because the ball's coming at you at very, very significant speeds.
Okay.
And blindfold. So you're completely reliant on your ears to do this.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, you are actually using your hearing to jump in and, sorry, that was Matt's phone. I was like, did I do something? Interference, UFOs, no. So you actually, like, as in table tennis, and of course you have the ball that's making noise, like you said, because there's the ball bearings in it, and you have to attune your ear to hit it back over the obstacle in the middle.
No, under.
Okay, because see, the air hockey thing made me think you're pushing a type of thing around, but it's actually a ball.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it is about using your paddle, your bat. What you call it, a bat?
The bat, yeah.
To try and get it. Is there a goal to be won, or if someone misses and it strikes the backside, and then that point goes to the server, or is that how it works?
Yeah. So to touch on gameplay.
Sure.
So the way that works, you have the objective is to get your ball in the other person's goal.
Okay. A la air hockey style. Gotcha.
Yes, yeah. So, and the goal pockets, so they're like either nets or plastic holders.
Sure.
Are at the same points as air hockey goals
could
be.
Gotcha.
So the table is also the same kind of curved corners.
Gotcha.
Like air hockey.
Yeah.
And so when you score a goal, you earn 2 points, but there are fouls. So you have serves, and there are certain rules around how serves work and where the ball has to bounce.
I see.
So there are rules around that. You are not allowed to hit the screen in the middle of the table. There's rules around defense and where you are and are not allowed to defend the ball coming at you.
Gotcha.
So if you break any of those rules,
You're penalized.
stipulated rules,
Yeah.
you are penalized
Okay.
in the form of the other player getting a point.
I see.
So
I see.
essentially the gameplay is first to 11, but you have to win, like in tennis, with 2 clear points.
Gotcha. So now you talked about having to wear blindfolds. I know Matthew's been completely blind since birth. Other people just have, like what Teresa and I talk about often, low vision or only peripheral vision or things like that. So everyone puts a blindfold on
Everyone.
just to even the playing field, as we say.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point, because what it means is that you can have someone who is fully sighted, who can get on that table, who can put that blindfold on, and then you are in the exact same position as
Absolutely.
the person across from you who may never have had sight in their life.
I think making that point goes a long way for empathy, for folks to understand. And, hey, talk about developing like a superpower, because it is about timing and hearing and understanding sort of the physics of the space around you.
Yes.
That's very cool, guys. That is very, very cool. So someone came to you, told you about this first, Matt, or did you know about it, Estelle, first? And, or did you come to it together? Or?
So so when I say we, I mean the UK. England hosted the World Games for blind sport in 2023 in Birmingham itself. And Showdown was one of those. I have a good friend who is very high up in the sport and who has been for several years. And
Sure.
he messaged me and said, "I'm coming to Birmingham to play this. You must come watch." And I did. And of course, as soon as I saw those guys play, and the speed and the skill that they bring to that to that table, I just thought, okay, I have to do this.
Gotcha.
So thereafter, the International Blind Sports Association made 8 tables available across the UK in an attempt to sort of promote that sport within the UK. So we had one team, I think, that was playing it before that, but the provision of tables across the country
Sure.
to local blindness associations across England really sort of made it take off.
Gotcha. Okay. And in Johannesburg, Estelle?
No, so I
you play there?
I did not start playing Showdown until I went to the UK
Gotcha.
in December, past December.
Uh-huh.
And I picked it up from Matthew and from a couple of the other people in the club that we train with. Shout out to the Comets.
Shout out to the comments.
Awesome.
And so I picked it up from there, and in March, when we had nationals in the UK, I played in those. Currently third for women in the UK right now.
Sweet.
That's incredible. I didn't realise you'd only just started playing in December.
Yeah, no, I'd been
Wow.
playing for approximately 2.5 months by the time we did that.
There you
So that
go.
was really, really fun. That was such an honor.
So that's very interesting, because now, I guess what I want to ask is, so obviously you have some very important skills, that you honed quite quickly. So, speed, is there a strategy if points are up or down? Is it all about sound awareness, or what do you...
Yeah, so in terms of strategy, there are a lot of people who will just hit the ball.
Whack
right?
away.
Whack away is a very good way of phrasing that. But there are tactics.
Sure.
There is, you can put spin on the ball. Do you do top spin? Do you do side spin? Do you do
Gotcha.
back spin? You can try and fake your opponent out,
Sure.
right? You're moving the ball around, hitting it against one wall, then the other wall, and then trying to send it from a place that your opponent is not expecting.
Okay.
And so...
So the ability to ricochet is important
Yes.
across the sides
Yeah,
of the table.
absolutely.
Gotcha.
So don't just send it straight, right?
Gotcha. Okay,
Have
okay.
a little bit of play with it, you
Sure.
know? Play with angles, and it's so interesting how you then start thinking about other things.
Sure.
Shallow angles, deep angles. What does an angle look like? Are you hitting it from the corner, or are you hitting it from center table?
Gotcha.
My most powerful shot comes out of my left corner. I
Gotcha.
don't know why that is, but it always works.
Are you allowed to touch the ball
No.
with anything other than the bat?
No.
Okay, so no
While
handballs,
it's in-
right, Matthew?
No.
While it's in play,
While it's in play, you
Gotcha.
you cannot.
Gotcha.
You can line it up for the first serve of the point.
Gotcha.
But when the whistle blows, that other hand needs to be off. And to be perfectly honest, at the speed and force that we play
You
at,
don't want to
you
hit
do
your
not
other
want
hand.
your other hand anywhere near it. So it's definitely something that that other hand pulls off really fast.
Gotcha.
It's really interesting, just to touch on this whole strategy thing.
Sure.
Again. It's really interesting because while I'm quite young, right? I'm 24. I still have my reflexes are pretty good.
Sure, yeah.
So in terms of speed, my reaction time, I'm great.
You're good at it.
You're not gonna fake me out with a fastball.
You're a quick draw McGraw there.
I
yeah.
am. But there are players who are playing at international levels who are like 49-50.
Sure. We'll forget that. Keep
Do you
going,
want to
guys.
Take that last sentence again.
Yeah, there are players playing at international levels who are about 49 or 50. And I just want to point out that age is not the barrier here.
Sure.
Yeah.
There are ways to compensate for things like that.
And to hone your reaction skills
Yeah,
and stuff
absolutely.
too, right? Like anything else, you practice. Talk to me about that. So what is like, say, you're not playing in a tournament or anything. What is like sort of the workout to prepare or to keep good at this game? It's like tennis players hit the ball off a wall or
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do?
We split it into two kinds of drills.
Gotcha.
Right? So there's defense and offense drills.
Okay.
Right? So for offense drills, you're thinking about different shots. What kind of clever things can you do that won't result in a foul of any kind, but then also might fake your opponent out, that might target the goal? Do you want to target the goal, or do you want to target the backboard on the other end so it comes back to you and you keep control of the ball?
Gotcha. Okay.
And force your opponent to like flit around with the bat trying to find a ball that you've already got.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of that on the offensive side. On the defensive side, it's how are you hearing the shots coming at you,
Gotcha.
right? If you hear the other person take a shot and you hear it off of their left wall, can you tell if it's on your side of the screen, on their side of the screen? Where exactly along the wall is it? Or if it's coming at you from center, where is it? What angle of your bat do you then have it at?
Yeah.
All those kind of things. So there's tons of drills that you would use to try and hone those skills. One is we call the trapping game, for example, where the goal, excuse the pun, the goal of the exercise is when a ball comes at you to take control of it.
Sure.
Right? However fast it's moving, or whatever, your aim is to bat that into the sidewall or whatever, so you can keep it.
Sure.
Essentially, so that's one type of drill that we use. There's loads of these things.
Gotcha.
Right, and so for both ends of the table, whether you're shooting or defending, there's loads of different ways to think about what to do and things you can practice.
And I think the important thing to add to that as well is that you don't just have to practice at a table.
Sure.
That's true.
So if you want to practice at your dining room table or a counter or
Sure.
something like that, as long as you have something that is about the approximate weight of the ball, weight is important.
I was
right?
going to ask you,
Because
what is the ball made of? You said it has ball bearings
It's
in it.
plastic.
It's a plastic ball.
Yes. So I think the weight is the most important thing. I have a blind cricket ball, but
Yeah.
I can't practice drills with that because it's too heavy.
Heavy,
Right?
gotcha.
So it's not going to get away from me as easily as a showdown ball is going to get away
Gotcha.
from me. So if you have something the approximate weight, say an apple, maybe
Sure.
even a little bit lighter, you have something the approximate weight of a showdown ball, you can practice like ball
Anywhere.
control
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yes. Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to leather it across the room, I hope.
Yeah.
But you can have your bat on top of it and move it around.
I see.
You can practice muscle strength with resistance bands.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of
speed.
people will use resistance bands for that
Sure.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
because I can imagine like wrist fatigue and stuff is
Absolutely.
an issue, right?
Yeah.
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 What is the shape of the bat that you're using and about approximate size of it?
So the handle is a lot thinner than the paddle, the actual hitting end.
Got you.
Size, I'm terrible. I could not tell you.
You can't guesstimate how
I
big
am
it is.
terrible at estimating sizes of things, but it's quite.
About 10 inches long, maybe.
Maybe. Less than a foot?
Yeah, it's less than a foot.
Yeah, yeah.
Got you.
Less than a foot.
Oh, okay.
And there are really specific rules about how long your handle and how long your.
And what
actual-
is that made out of? Is
that's
it
wooden.
It's made out of
That's
wood,
wooden,
similar
yeah.
to what a table tennis paddle sort
Correct.
of made out of
and
wood.
there's as many bats as there are players.
Gotcha.
There's different thicknesses
Oh,
of,
yeah.
of handle, different shapes of handle, and different
Depending on
things.
what you're
And
comfortable
different
Depending
with.
on what your hands are like and what you prefer.
Yeah,
Sure.
and different thicknesses of the actual
Of the
bat
paddle, yeah.
itself,
For sure.
of the actual paddle.
Uh-huh.
I sometimes like to play with a really, really thin, really light bat.
Gotcha.
But then when I'm playing against stronger players who hit harder,
Uh-huh.
I want a little more stability. So I reach
Yeah.
for a thicker bat or a
You
thicker
put your boots
handle.
on, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love
I
it.
mean, there's a club in the UK right now who are 3D printing handles.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There's definitely a market for the design,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think, and production
Absolutely.
in that science as well.
And it's about 4 inches wide, would you say?
Yeah, about that
Yeah.
roughly,
Yeah.
maybe a
10
bit less.
inches long.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've definitely given our listeners this week, this month, I should say, some aha, like, really moments, listening to you guys describe how cool this game is, and I can see it being beneficial for so many folk, whether sighted or not.
Could I ask you what playing has taught you personally? Playing Showdown has taught you?
So, just for me personally, this was the first sport I have ever attempted.
Sure.
It doesn't tend to be something I reach for as a sport. It's just not something I
Doesn't blow your skirt up.
Yeah,
I get it.
Exactly. And this was the first thing that I really grabbed from a sporting perspective.
Uh-huh.
And it has honed so many things. I mean, we talk about spatial processing and
Sure.
fast reaction times
Uh-huh.
and physical confidence at a table. Do you know what your body is doing and how that affects what the ball is doing or what's going to happen on table?
Uh-huh.
All of those things are incredibly, incredibly beneficial for someone who is sort of new to sport or has never really touched on that side of things
Uh-huh.
for a long time. It has absolutely enabled me to become more confident with those aspects.
Gotcha.
Those were more physical things.
Uh-huh.
Every now and then when something is rolling perilously towards the end of a counter and we manage to grab it, it's like, showdown reflexes.
Showdown reflex. I love that.
So for me, and it's different for you, I know, Estelle, because you've played sports before. But for me, that was definitely what drew me and what keeps me in.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think mine is a lot more person-based. The thing that I find more beneficial from it. This is probably not something I should be admitting out loud. But I don't think I am a very good team player.
Okay.
It's something that I find incredibly difficult, right? Respecting other people and their space on a team as much as I respect my own.
Gotcha.
And the thing is, like, as someone who's going into the working world, I'm quite young, right?
Sure.
And I think that developing that kind of, I exist in a world with other people and they deserve time on table as much as I deserve time on table, and everyone has different skills or different shots or
Sure.
amazing things to contribute, and I can still learn from all of that.
So this is
That's
like a
been
team
so-
building exercise
yes,
for you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I have watched players play that I know I can win against.
Gotcha.
Right? But you send one shot and I go, how did you just do that? And immediately it changes. Right?
Sure.
Because immediately I'm respecting you for something that
Yeah.
I don't know how you just managed.
Yeah.
And I can learn from you. And for me, that's been incredibly, incredibly useful.
Well, the difference between confidence and conceit is humility, right?
Yes.
So that's a life lesson, Estelle, as a young lady, trying to, like you say, make your place in the world will take you very far. It just will. It will just win friends and influence people, as all those professional folks say in their books, right? In their self-help books. Do you, how was it like the first time you beat someone? So, the woohoo factor. Either of you, or both of you.
It was glorious because, like I say, for me, I'm just like, I've never done a sport before.
Sure.
Did I just managed to do that? You know, that was a whole moment. And the thing is, I'm playing against friends as well. I've known a lot of these guys, not everyone. I've met a lot of new people doing this sport as well.
Sure.
But I'm playing against people I know well over the past couple of years, right?
Okay.
And so bragging rights matter, y'all.
Sure they do.
And so, there was this moment of, there's this whole new world of things that is just opened up when that whistle blew.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so you do get that sort of feeling of, oh yeah, okay, this is a whole new experience. I'm not done experiencing new things. This is a whole new thing.
That's great.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, that's great. Life is, brings things to you so that you can, find find the joy every day. That's a goal that I try to adhere to in life. So yeah, how was your first win, since you're so very new to it and you became a champion?
So I think for me, I'm a very competitive person.
Yes, as you said.
I just like to put a little bit more emphasis on it.
Yeah.
But I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that really struck me was when I beat someone I didn't think I could beat.
Gotcha.
When I won a game I didn't think I could win, and I'm still having those moments.
Yeah.
And we played in a competition about 2 weeks before we came to Bermuda, to the island. And I remember during one of the change ends after a set, I turned to the girl who was coaching me and I said, "Claire, I cannot win this." And she said, "Well, not with that mindset, you can't." And I played like my life depended on it.
Yeah.
And I won it. It was close.
Sure.
Right? It was close.
Was a nail biter.
But yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I wasn't watching it. But I think for me, it's not so much about the first win. It's
Sure.
about the last win.
Sure.
It's about every win feeling like you've achieved something.
Because you have.
Yes.
And not letting it become,
And the thing is also...
sort of blasé about it. Or, again, that's the humility, goes a long way.
Yeah, and developing that pride in yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
As, developing that confidence, developing that feeling of, I can still do things that
Sure.
I don't think I can do.
Yeah. So
That's incredible.
have there been any aha moments? Matthew, you talk about having several friends who have done it. Some of your sighted friends, I assume, or those vision impaired
No,
friends?
I'd say mostly from my VI world.
Got you.
I have enticed a family member to attempt it once.
Okay.
When she was in the UK, and
Got you.
she thought it was great and very funny. And
Well,
all the
I
rest
think
of it.
you talked about bragging rights and stuff. I think as far as creating sort of a more of an empathic approach from people who are sighted, that to even this play and put them on point, that's going to go a long way, I think, with having this sport be accepted across the board, not just with visually impaired folks.
I agree, but I think it's more than that.
Yeah.
I think there is definitely an empathic component to it, but I think actually what matters just as much is being able to have sort of friends who are sighted and blind friends sort of doing this thing together.
Sure,
Or
yeah.
sighted and blind family members doing this thing together.
Creating the community.
Creating the thing where you are all on the same page. You are
Yes.
all working for... It's not about, okay, I understand better what it is like to do something as a blind person. It's
Sure.
like we are both at the exact same point. We're both at the same level. We can both
For real.
progress in this thing together. We can have friendly competition together when we are on an even playing field.
Gotcha.
And I think it gives rise to this sort of sense of, for both groups,
Sure.
this sounds a bit cliched, but we belong together in
Sure.
this thing. And there are not a load of situations where you can say that and be as definitive as that.
Exactly.
That really matters.
Yeah, I think anything that I often say in chats with various different topics that if you can make music together and break bread together, there's no problem you can't solve, right? And here you are bringing another avenue to the table to create, an even playing field, like
Yes.
you said. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. Is it noisy?
Yeah.
Or are you guys noisy? Or is the ball noisy? I know the ball's noisy.
So you can't be noisy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You just can't be.
Sure.
Because if I'm standing at one end of the table and Therese is at the other end, we both need to be listening to that ball, no matter
Focusing,
if I
yeah.
have it or she has it.
Sure.
But so if you and Matthew are having a conversation in the corner, that's distracting from
Sure.
the play.
I can imagine.
In a practice, it's not as serious. Obviously, it's not as tense. I think there's definitely a point to be made for community
Sure.
and for quiet awe and respect.
Absolutely.
But I think when you're very much focusing, when you're in a gameplay situation, the silence from the external is
Yes,
so
it's important. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And then it's also easier for you to focus on what the ball is doing as an observer, as a
Yeah.
viewer.
Do you get to do the touchdown dance or anything when you score a point?
I like to do a little cat stretch while
Gotcha.
the other player is sorting out their next serve. I do a little
Yes.
stretch my back, and that's my little
That's your
between
celebration.
point thing. Yeah.
Wow. In case you're just joining us, this is our monthly Vision Talk chat, and we're talking to Estelle Roos and Matthew Johnson about this cool new game. And hopefully, if Teresa gets her way, it's going to come to Bermuda. Let's talk a little bit about making that happen,
Yeah,
Teresa, and what we need to do to make that happen.
Well, the price of the table, actually, you can help me out, you two. Both of you. The price of the table and bringing it in and having some coaching is going to be about $15,000.
Okay.
The table was handmade?
That's
bespoke?
correct.
Is
So
that- yeah.
there is only one maker of these
Gotcha.
tables in North America, and there's only one or two in Europe that are doing this. So it is a very sort of bespoke, sort of niche
Sure.
item, and I've been in talks with the maker. They're very keen to help us out and do this. They send
Okay.
them all over the U.S. and Canada.
Sure.
And they're definitely interested in helping us out. But of course, they are built by hand. And that does entail a degree of labor and material that
Sure.
that comes
What
with a
wood
cost.
are they made of?
I genuinely don't know. It is wooden. Obviously, the screen is plexiglass because that thing takes a beating. But the table itself is wooden, and it folds up, and
I see.
it can be sort of stored very easily.
Stored
Metal
and
supports.
transported.
Metal supports and wooden
Gotcha.
superstructure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to think about raising this $15,000 to have the table made and get the equipment required. And I heard both of you talking about coaches. Do you have folks that are sort of the professional coaches in this new sport, or you talking about friends who are better at it coach you, or how does that work? We would get someone in a more professional capacity to come down and teach it with Teresa at Vision Bermuda.
So I think the interesting thing is that anyone can get involved from a coaching perspective if
Gotcha.
they have enough drive to.
Gotcha.
We don't have professional coaches.
Gotcha.
So we have, at least where the Comets are concerned, the team that we play with, we have volunteers who
Okay.
have joined. So one woman's husband is helping coach. He's
Gotcha.
our head coach. And then a couple of the volunteers from the center that we work at,
All right.
they also help either coach, and they also get to play with us.
Yeah.
Right.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Because why not? That's what I was going to say. So I guess my next suggestion is we're going to have to wrap things up in a couple minutes. Is that we should just get you two to come back and coach?
Oh,
Well, we
yes,
would
please.
we would welcome that.
Would we have to twist your arm or no?
I don't think so. Might have to come when it's a little cooler. We're
Yeah,
struggling a
you
little
can,
bit,
you can come in the fall. It's fine.
I think for me, I enjoy coaching about as much as I enjoy playing, and
Gotcha.
that's genuine.
Sweet.
You're
You're hired.
Oh, okay, I don't have
First
to pitch
job.
anymore. No, genuinely, I
Gotcha.
think for me, coaching does a completely different thing, right? I
Sure.
was saying about how I don't think I'm much of a team player, but coaching has given me the opportunity to help the people that I would in other situations maybe see as less attuned to the sport,
Yeah,
less
gotcha.
knowledgeable, and give them the knowledge that I have,
And that
it's-
gives you that
it's-
team spirit as well,
Absolutely, yeah.
right? Team player
I
spirit
love
as
it.
well.
I love seeing people that did not come to the table knowing anything,
Yeah,
and then they walk out having beaten me.
sure.
I love it.
Yeah,
Please
it's great.
beat me.
Yeah.
Please beat
Yes,
Estelle.
please.
Yeah, beat
So-
her, on
dare.
at the game if you dare.
If I may close out
Sure, hun.
from the perspective of someone who grew up here,
Sure.
and who just discovered this recently,
Sure.
I cannot express enough how beneficial something like this is at every level.
Sure.
Of
So for
development.
youngsters and all the way up to adults, yeah.
If you are a young person, you are learning the confidence of being around other people and doing the things that Estelle mentioned, but you're also learning spatial processing,
Sure.
speed, physical confidence. You are doing all of that.
Sure.
If you lose your sight later in life, and you sort of really yearn for the time where you could go play sports again.
Sure.
Well, now you can.
Now you can.
Right? If you're a family member of someone who has a visual impairment, now you can do something with them at the same level and be
For sure.
a part of their world
Uh-huh.
in a really fundamental
Meaningful.
meaningful way. If there are other things. If you're in a wheelchair, you can still play this.
Sure.
Right? If you're older and maybe don't want to play at the speed or the force that we might bring to a table, you can. There are sessions for that. And I think there are just so many aspects to playing a sport like this
Awesome.
that are beneficial, and I think we could bring this to the island. We could make this happen.
I'm
Well-
very excited about it.
Yeah, Teresa and I, I'm sure we'll expand on it at our next chat. We'll talk more about the fundraising effort and things like that, and how people can get into it and become a part of helping this happen here in Bermuda. I think it's just going to go leaps and bounds, and as far as bringing people together to understand what a great sport this is. I think you guys have really bought that, kicked that can the way it needs to go as far as making this
They
happen
have.
in
But if
Bermuda.
anybody's listening and they would like to get involved sooner rather than later,
Sure.
please reach out to me at rehab@visionbermuda.bm.
Yep.
That's my email.
And anyone can call Vision Bermuda at 292-3231, or you can email info@visionbermuda.bm. And please reach out and stay tuned for more announcements as far as how the acquisition of the necessary equipment and infrastructure is going. And before you know it, I think we're going to have a team that's playing
Let's do it.
Showdown. You know what I mean?
Have enough clients that would love to do this and would
Yeah.
benefit.
Would
from
love the
it.
activity.
So as soon as we can get the money raised, we
Uh-huh.
can get the table at least started,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
raise some more to bring it over and stuff. But yes, please.
And what are we going to call it? The Bermuda Longtails? The
Oh,
Bermuda
like
Kiskadis.
the
it.
Bermuda Kiskadis. I
No,
don't know.
no,
So many names to
So
pick
many
from.
possible names. We need a name. We need
Yeah,
a name.
yeah.
Someone
Oh,
out there.
I love
Let us
that.
know what you think the
What
name
you
of
think
the
the
Bermuda
name,
team could be.
a good
Yeah.
Bermuda
We need
team
a
name
name.
could be. Yeah.
And you could end up at the Paralympics.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Guys, Estelle, Matthew, pleasure having you here.
Thank you
Hope
so
you
much.
enjoy the rest of you stay here and don't get too soggy in the humidity. It's no fun, we know. But thanks so much for introducing this concept to our listeners.
It's been a
And
pleasure.
we appreciate, you coming all the way across the pond to come check us out,
Thanks so much.
Thank
and look
you.
forward to the next time that can happen, because we've already established who our first coach is going to be. So we'll just put that out to the universe and make sure it happens,
Yes.
okay? Folks, you've been listening to Vision Bermuda. You can hear it on the second Tuesday of the month here on Ocean 89, and on the second Wednesday of the month at our sister station down on Power 95. So please tune in, and please reach out and contact if you think this is something you might want to get involved in. Thanks for listening, folks.